Hey, how's it going? I want to introduce to you the very first episode of my podcast, the Hope This Helps podcast. This was actually put out a while ago, but no one was really following me when I put it out, so I wanted to re-release it. It was on Apple and Buzzsprout, but then it got removed from both of those platforms because Lyft filed several cease and desists and got it removed. If you've ever driven for Lyft like I have, you should enjoy this. And if you're driving for Lyft today, play this while you pick up all your passengers. All right, here's the podcast. It's my very first episode of the Hope This Helps podcast, where I, senior editor Ben Palmer, interview the leading thinkers in business and innovation. I'm your host, Ben Palmer. Let's get right into it. My guest today, I am extremely excited to introduce him and very honored to have him on our show. He's the co-founder and president of one of the biggest on-demand transportation companies in the entire world. He's a graduate of Cornell University. His company employs 1.7 million drivers and is worth over $15 billion after officially going public on March 18th. His personal net worth is over $550 million. My guest today is Lyft CEO John Zimmer. John, it's an honor to have you here.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
And have you read the articles that say that companies like Lyft and Uber are actually making traffic worse in major cities?
Yeah, I have. And I'll let you know that we're doing everything we can to rectify that situation. We want to be the company that works on tools that improve these issues rather than exacerbate them.
Tell me more about Lyft Line, which is one way you're attempting to deal with these traffic congestion issues.
Yeah, we developed Lyft Line pretty extensively over the last couple of years. And basically that enables passengers who are going in the same direction to share a ride together while keeping costs down. Basically just makes the ride more affordable for everybody.
And does that include the driver?
No.
And has tipping become more of a standard since the inception of ride sharing, or is that something that's kind of reserved for other industries?
The passengers have the option to tip or not to tip.
And which one do they usually choose?
Not to. Consumers spend $1.2 trillion every year in the U.S. alone on consumer transportation, and we're investing aggressively in that market. So we think it's going to be the largest market that ever shifts from an ownership model to a service model. Not only are we investing in ride sharing, we're investing in bikes, we're investing in scooters, we're investing in autonomous vehicles. We're investing pretty much unapologetically, and we think the returns are going to be pretty incredible.
And for those who are listening who may not be familiar with what an autonomous vehicle is, can you explain?
Automation is the process of getting a system to work automatically. In this case, a vehicle. So simply put, an autonomous vehicle is a car that works by itself.
Without a driver?
Yes.
So once the autonomous vehicles are ready, you're going to fire all of the 1.7 million drivers that work for you?
Well, they are considered independent contractors, so technically they don't work for us.
So would it be considered a layoff?
I wouldn't call it a layoff. It's more of a transition phase into unemployment.
The Hope This Helps podcast is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Want to use a job hiring service for several months and never hear back from anyone? Try ZipRecruiter.
Like I said before, we want Lyft to be a positive experience for everybody. And that's why we've included Lyft stickers for all of our independent contractors. We also have a point system.
Oh, okay, nice. Tell me more.
We encourage the independent contractors to take more rides, and in turn, they can earn points that they can convert into real, tangible things that they can use on their journey.
That's great. What's an example of a tangible thing they can convert their points into?
Stickers.
So if they have to dress their vehicle up in Lyft stickers, aren't they wearing somewhat of a Lyft uniform?
I would consider it less of a uniform and more of company swag.
Funding for the Hope This Helps podcast is provided by the City of San Francisco. The City of San Francisco kindly reminds you that you can shoot heroin openly, but don't you dare use a plastic straw.
I gotcha. So once you're done dressing them up in the stickers to advertise your business, you're going to replace them.
ZipRecruiter.
Do the drivers know how much they're going to make for each ride?
Yes. Once the ride is completed, they are notified of their earnings.
But they don't know how much they're making before or during that ride, right?
That's correct. Yes. Listen, we want this to be a positive experience.
If I could just interrupt you for a second, I want to let me paint a scenario real quick, if you will.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Let's say if I called a Lyft to Nebraska right now, and some guy with a wife and kids driving for Lyft accepts the ride. He doesn't know that I'm going to Nebraska until I'm already in the car and we're on the way to Nebraska, right?
That's right.
What would you recommend him doing if he wants to see his kids that night?
Well, I know there are probably a lot of good hotel rooms in Nebraska. I don't know if he's ever been there, but he could always take some pictures and send them to his kids.
Okay.
There's always FaceTime. He could log on to TikTok and see if they're on there.
And how would he get home? Does Lyft pay for that?
We pay for the ride to Nebraska, but not from Nebraska.
Okay. So we'll have to stay in Nebraska.
Yeah.
The Hope This Helps podcast is brought to you by Apple. If you get hit by a bus, we want to be the glowing screen you were staring at.
Explore Nebraska. Get out there. Check it out. Explore it.
Back with Lyft CEO John Zimmer. Can I ask about the puke scandal?
What's that?
There's a thing happening where drivers or independent contractors, they were planning fake puke in the car and then claiming that the passengers puked in their car. And since Lyft doesn't have any physical people that manage and oversee operations, they would just charge the passenger $150 without ever investigating to see if the puke is real.
Well, we don't have the perfect solution for everything, but there's going to be schemes and loopholes that people out there in the real world will take advantage of. We have to be able to adapt to that.
I was thinking you could hire a smell team.
A smell team?
Yeah, like a support staff who could come out and smell the puke to see if it's real or spaghetti sauce.
We don't have any plans for a smell team, but our customer service staff makes a judgment call based on visual evidence, and then we just go from there.
The Hope This Helps podcast is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Starting next month, Dollar Shave Club will be transitioning to focus solely on hemorrhoids. We know that men need a good, reliable shave each month, but the growing demand for hemorrhoid cream cannot be ignored. We will be phasing completely out of razors and going full force into the rapidly growing hemorrhoid market. Dollar Shave Club. You'll scream without our cream.
And I assume the drivers clean up the puke, right?
Each contractor is responsible for maintaining the cleanliness and safety of their own vehicle. That's correct.
And if there's puke or body fluids, that could potentially spread illness or disease. Usually companies have protocols for cleaning up bodily fluids. Are they hazmat certified?
Under our current model, we don't have any plans for them to be hazmat certified.
Could you maybe get them a doctor's mask?
Under our current model, we don't have any plans for doctor's masks.
Funding for the Hope This Helps podcast is provided by the City of San Francisco. Our ferocious waves and deep waters make our oceans a perfect place to store your dead body.
You could put the Lyft logo on the mask. I'm back with Lyft CEO John Zimmer. Recently, rideshare drivers organized a strike because of poor wages and no benefits, and that was after Lyft and Uber went public, and it was announced that both companies were each worth billions of dollars. Now, I've also read reports that say that Lyft and Uber aren't considered profitable yet. Can you explain how that makes sense? How could you be worth billions but not yet profitable?
Well, technically, we are profitable. I would say that assessment of us not being profitable, that's not correct. They don't report this, but last year, we had a positive contribution margin. Listen,
And before you go on, for those who aren't familiar, what does positive contribution margin mean? I'm back with Lyft CEO John Zimmer.
Thank you for the water, Ben.
No problem.
Yeah, my voice just started going out. I don't know.
I've been in Lyft rides that have a bottled water before. Excuse me. I think I need to sip myself. Does Lyft help with those expenses, or is that all on the driver?
The independent contractor covers all those expenses.
And does that include oil changes and tire replacements and alignments and stuff like that?
What we do, Ben, is we provide alternative solutions for our contractors to be successful. Because again, we want this to be a positive experience for everyone involved. We have what we call our Express Drive program. We partner with Hertz Rental Car Services to provide affordable vehicles to drivers who don't want to put wear and tear on their vehicles, and they still want to make money. So under that program, all minor maintenance is covered, including oil changes, tire replacements, stuff like that.
That's a good solution, actually. I actually have experience driving for the Express Rental program.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. As a part of this interview, I did some research, and I decided to see what it was like to be a Lyft driver. And rather than put wear and tear on my car, I used the rental program. The car rental was $247 a week, which is around $1,000 a month, which also happens to be the same price to lease a brand new Range Rover. So I didn't earn any money until that $247 was covered, and that took a while. And with gas on top of that, I really didn't start keeping any money until I got to like the $400-500 range. I did the math. After 20 hours of driving, doing it as a part-time job to earn extra money, my hourly rate was $4.17.
Well, I understand the challenges of the rental costs, but I would like to point out that most of our drivers use Lyft as a part-time solution rather than a full-time job to, it's not a feed your family kind of job.
Well, that's good because you'd have to have a really small family that doesn't like to eat. Let's talk more about the long-term vision for Lyft.
Thanks, Ben. We're very confident in the long-term profitability of this model. We're making a decision that is aligning with our shareholders to go after the long-term opportunity.
And what's the long-term opportunity?
Bikes, scooters, autonomous vehicles.
Okay, so not breathing humans.
No.
Funding for the Hope This Helps podcast is provided by the City of San Francisco. Our vast ocean and heavy fog make San Francisco a top 10 destination to commit murder.
So right now what you're doing is you're using the human being drivers as a bridge to get to a new territory of automation, so to speak. And once you get to that new territory, you're going to detonate the bridge.
That's correct.
Is there anything you're doing to help actual people?
Well, our services have helped people tremendously, people of all incomes who have in the past found transportation to be more challenging. We're opening it up and making it so everyone is on a level playing field. We're always working on getting the prices of rides down. And over the next couple of years, Lyft rides will be a lot cheaper for everybody. No more surge pricing, less surprises, and you can get to where you need to go and still afford to go out at night and have a nice dinner, or maybe take your family to a movie.
And will the driver get to go to a movie?
The driver will be taking them to the movie.
The Hope This Helps podcast is brought to you by Amazon Go. Amazon Go is a new kind of store with no checkout required. We created the world's most advanced shopping technology, so you never have to wait in line. Simply use the Amazon Go app to enter the store, take the products you want, and go. No lines, no checkout. You must have an iPhone and a credit card to enter the store. Poor people are forbidden. Restrictions apply.
Back with Lyft CEO John Zimmer. If you're my mom and you're watching this right now, she's a big investor. If you're Diane, her name's Diane, and you're thinking, do I want to own Lyft shares? What is the time horizon with which you would tell her this could be a profitable company?
Well, I wouldn't be allowed to give forward-looking guidance, but I would tell your mother, what's her name again?
Diane.
I'd tell Diane that if you believe in the idea that American households spending $9,000 every year owning and operating a car and using it 5% of the time, if you think we can make that more efficient and save thousands and thousands of dollars by doing all your transportation services in one place, then this is the right company for you.
Would you recommend my mom getting in a car with a stranger?
Of course, all of our drivers go through rigorous background checks.
And what about the drivers who haven't committed a crime yet but will in the future?
Well, we do have a first of its kind $1 million liability insurance policy.
So if something happens to her, then my family gets money.
That's right.
But we don't have a mom anymore.
Correct. No more Diane.
Now, if you do get to a point when you are strictly autonomous, that's going to open up the landscape for competition.
I think what's important to realize is for us to be successful, we have to be great at technology, and that includes software. And we also have to be great at physical operations, because it's not enough to just have software. You need to combine that with the real world. And that's something we believe we can do better than anyone else.
Yeah, I've noticed Lyft more so than Uber does a good job of actually getting back to you with like a real person.
Thank you. That's something we take pride in.
I heard that Uber is going to offer a mute button option for passengers who don't want their drivers to talk to them. Does Lyft have any plans to do that?
Under our current model, there are no plans for a mute button.
What about a button that the drivers can press to prevent passengers from asking them questions like, how long have you been working for Lyft, or does this pay good money? Is there a button for that?
Under our current model, there are no plans for that type of button.
What about a smell team?
You already asked that,
Dollar
but
Shave
under our
Club.
current model...
Oh, that's right. Okay, we covered that. Well, let's wrap it up then.
Yeah, sounds good.
If you had one piece of advice you could give to young professionals and entrepreneurs, what would it be?
I would say look at the world around you and ask yourself, what does this world need? What's really missing? And how can I provide a solution for that? And once you figure out what that need is, in this case for me, it was the roads, fill the need.
Fill the roads.
Precisely.
Thank you, John.
Ben, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I assume you're going to be taking a Lyft home tonight.
No, I actually don't really use Lyft. I drive Tesla.
That was Lyft CEO John Zimmer. If you want to reach out to John, feel free to email him at john@lyft.com. That's john@lyft.com. Or feel free to send him a tweet at John Zimmer and let him know how much you enjoyed him on the Hope This Helps podcast. And you can always reach out to me with your comments or questions to @BizInsiderPod on Twitter. And our website is businessinsiderpodcast.com. And from each and every one of us over at Business Insider, we truly and sincerely hope this helps.